A man has a magical stone mill. Whatever food he desires, it provides an endless supply. Even more amazing is his giant green hat, which gives him fearlessness against everything. However, he was once a poor woodcutter. One day, he accidentally saw two children in the forest. The girl was the princess of the Sunrise Kingdom, and the boy was the prince of the Sunset Kingdom. The little prince really liked the poor man's little cow, and he wished to give it to him. The little prince promised that his father, the king, would avenge the poor man. So the old man gave the prince his most valuable little cow. When he returned home, his wife scolded him harshly. Helpless, he went to the Sunset Kingdom to ask for compensation. The poor man hoped the king would reward him with the stone mill. When the king heard this, he burst into tears, for it was his most precious treasure. But for his son's happiness, the king gave it to the poor man. Before he left, the little prince kindly told the poor man how to use it. The poor man was very grateful, because it was the little prince who had asked him to request this item. The poor man hurried home, but on the way, he was surprised to see something big and black coming towards him. It turned out to be a giant green hat. Underneath it, a man asked for some food, as he hadn't eaten in days, but the poor man couldn't help him. Suddenly, he thought to try using the stone mill. He shouted at the magical stone mill, "Give me some food and drink." As soon as he finished speaking, food poured out of the mill, enough to feast an entire village. The poor man quickly shouted for it to stop. Then they started eating and drinking non-stop. In comparison, the men with the green hat wanted the stone mill, hoping to exchange something for it. But the poor man wasn't foolish. The stone mill was a treasure. With it, he would never go hungry again. The men with the green hat proudly said his treasure could defeat 1,000,000 armies. Then the hat lifted into the air, firing a barrage of bullets in all directions. The poor man saw that it was indeed powerful, but he didn't need it. The men with the green hat didn't give up. He went on and on about how useful the hat was. Finally, the farmer had a sudden impulse and exchanged it. However, as the farmer felt regret, the king comforted the new owner, saying he could retrieve the magical stone mill. In the blink of an eye, the king brought the stone mill back. Now the poor man had both treasures, and he happily returned home. Soon, with the help of these two treasures, they moved into a big house. One day, the farmer was standing at the door smoking. When the king and his wife arrived with the prince, the farmer looked at their disheveled appearance and asked what had happened. The king said their land had been occupied by another kingdom, and now they had nowhere to stay. The farmer comforted the king, telling him not to be sad, as he had a way to deal with the invaders. Then he put on his big hat, grabbed his cane, and set off to find the northern king's army. By this time, the army had completely plundered the Sunset Kingdom, leaving chaos everywhere. The farmer reached the mountaintop, letting the hat fly above the enemy forces, and shouted, "Fire!" He then used the cane to strike the enemy's heads. Before long, he had wiped out their army. Later, the king bought the farmer's hat and cane, turning them into national treasures. For many years, no one dared to invade again. Meanwhile, the prince had grown up, married the princess of the Sunrise Kingdom, and held a grand and lavish wedding. At the wedding, the farmer danced happily,